Firewall. Think of the firewall as the security guard standing at the only entrance to your private property. Its job is to inspect every person and package trying to enter or leave, deciding who gets through based on a strict set of rules. In a network, a firewall is the most critical line of defense between your trusted internal network and the Wild West of the public internet. To truly master this host role, you must understand the difference between hardware and software firewalls, the logic of stateful inspection, and the evolution into next-generation protection. The two forms, hardware versus software. Firewalls exist in two primary forms, and a secure network always uses both in a strategy called defense in depth. Hardware firewalls are dedicated physical appliances that sit at the very edge of your network, right behind your router. They protect every single device in the building at once. Because they have their own specialized processors, they can filter massive amounts of traffic without slowing down your internet speed. This is your main gate. Software firewalls, also known as host-based firewalls, are programs that run directly on your individual laptop or server, such as Windows Defender Firewall. These provide a final, personal layer of protection. If a hacker somehow manages to get past the main hardware gateway, or if a virus is introduced via a USB drive, the software firewall on your computer can still block the malicious traffic. The logic of the rule base. A firewall is only as smart as the rules you give it. These rules are known as ACLS, or access control lists. Most professional firewalls follow a default deny posture. This means that, by default, all traffic is blocked. The administrator must then manually write, permit, rules for only the specific traffic that is necessary for business. Every rule looks at four primary pieces of information. First, the source IP address, or where the data is coming from. Second, the destination IP address, or where the data is going. Third, the port number, which identifies the service, such as port 80 for web traffic. Fourth, the protocol, usually TCP or UDP. For example, you might create a rule that says, permit traffic from the internal network to the external world on port 443 for secure web browsing, but deny all incoming traffic from the internet to our internal database servers. Stateful inspection, remembering the conversation. Older firewalls were packet filters. They looked at each packet in isolation, like a security guard who checks your ID every time you walk through a door, even if you just left 5 seconds ago. Modern firewalls use stateful inspection. This means the firewall remembers the state of active connections. If you send a request out to a website, the firewall makes a note in its state table. When the website sends the data back to you, the firewall recognizes it as a response to a conversation you started and lets it through automatically. However, if that same website tries to send you data that you didn't ask for, the firewall will recognize that there is no state for that conversation and block it instantly. The next generation firewall, NGFW. As hackers became more sophisticated, standard firewalls weren't enough. They could be easily fooled by application layer attacks that hide malicious code inside legitimate-looking web traffic. This led to the next generation firewall. An NGFW does deep packet inspection. It doesn't just look at the envelope of the data, the IP and port. It actually opens the envelope and reads the contents. It can identify specific applications. For example, it can tell the difference between a user browsing Facebook and a user uploading a file to Facebook. This allows an administrator to say, allow my employees to use Facebook for messaging, but block them from playing games or uploading company files. NGFWS often include other built-in tools like intrusion prevention systems and antivirus scanners, making them the Swiss Army knife of network security. Troubleshooting the firewall. When a new application isn't working, the firewall is the first place a technician looks. You will often check the firewall logs to see if your traffic is being dropped or rejected. If you see a log entry showing your application trying to talk on port 5000, but no rule exists to allow it, you have found your digital traffic jam. By carefully opening only the necessary ports, a process known as hole punching, you can allow your business apps to function while keeping the rest of your network locked down tight. By mastering the transition from simple packet filtering to stateful, deep packet inspection, you will be prepared to build a fortress-like perimeter for any organization.